Tony Warren here, and you've joined us for Our Millwall Fan Show with the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking team.
I'm Libby Stubbs.
And I'm Millie Connell. Why not sponsor one of our teammates just like they do?
To find out how, just email commercial@millwall-lionesses.com. I'll say that again, commercial@millwall-lionesses.com.
That is all you have to do, and it will help us to get back to where we belong.
Now enjoy our Millwall Fan Show from the No One Likes Us Talking team.
Hello and welcome to the No One Likes Us Talking podcast. Joining us today is James Kelly. Hello, James.
Evening, guys. How are we?
Hello, Dave.
Evening all.
And hello, Stan.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. So, firstly, how are we all? I'll start with you, James.
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Gary. Nothing special over the international break. Just been working, getting by, and just looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, indeed. What about you, Dave? What you been up to?
I've just come back from a week in Malta.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Weather wasn't too hot, but nice to get away. First time in a couple of years, so
Lovely.
Yeah, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, after Spain in Saturday morning, so I can't wait myself. The weather's not great out there either, but either way, we're going. So.
Yeah.
And Stan, what about you?
Oh, I'm okay, mate. I've been doing bits and pieces, and I'm glad that the international. I mean, I always enjoy the international break, I must admit, but that's now over, and from an England point of view, fairly fruitful. And now we're back to the bread and butter, which is what it's all about.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. In the first part of today's show, we will be discussing the Lions Trust. We will then be discussing and talking to an ex-player. And then Sean Daly from the Millwall Community Trust. We will then be discussing the Lionesses, the Romans, and of course the first team. Phew. And before we get started, let's listen to our colleagues over at the Proper Blokes Club.
Hello, I'm Scott and I founded the Proper Blokes Club. What is that I hear you say? Well, it's for men who have experienced or going through a tough time and fancy going for a walk and a talk. Or it could be you just want to get back on top of your game, maybe feeling lonely, or you could even be new to the area and just want to get out for a walk and a talk. This could be for you. So if you'd like to join us, we run sessions every Thursday, Sunday, starting at HMS Belfast, walking along the Thames up towards Surrey Quays. Thursday start time is 6 o'clock and Sunday start time is 6:30. If you guys are on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, find the Proper Blokes Club, give it a like, give it a follow, tag and share with your friends, or if you'd like to do it the old-fashioned way, you can call Scott on 07397 501110. That's 07397 501110, and we can make arrangements for you to come along. So I look forward to seeing you joining us soon at the Proper Blokes Club.
I'm Gary Staff, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of James Kelly, Dave Hart, and Stan Godwin. So, as mentioned, guys, at the start of the show, we're going to be talking about the Lions Trust. So, our man in the know, Eamon, has been out talking to Phil Clarke from the Lions Trust. So, let's listen to what they had to say, and then we can discuss it after.
I've caught up with Phil Clarke, Millwall season ticket holder, some would say an informed social media poster, well I would, and a Millwall fan for more years than I can remember. But Phil is also the acting secretary of the Lions Trust, which is a hot topic at the moment. Hello, Phil.
Hi, Eamon, how are you?
Yeah, not bad at all, not bad at all. All the better to speak to you. The Lions Trust has existed since 2002. Looks very much like it's being reinvigorated. Why is that, and who's involved in driving this forward?
Okay, thanks, Sam. Good question. So the Trust has been around, as you say, since 2002, when the club was in quite a different situation than it finds itself today under the very safe stewardship of the board and John Berylson. So the people involved in the Trust today is Nick Hart, Steve Jones, and myself. So Nick is the chairperson, Steve is the treasurer, and I'm acting secretary. Basically, we needed 3 committee members to be able to kind of pass any actions, etc. Nick and Steve were on the original trust,
Yeah.
so I was co-opted in to help kind of get it reinvigorated, as you say. So when it was first set up in 2002, 2003, its main function really was to be part of a sort of potential vehicle for a fan-owned club, as at the time that was something that was looking like a possible option with the various different issues we were facing in terms of ownership. Now the government has kind of launched this Crouch report, the Tracy Crouch report, the MP, which you may have seen.
Yeah.
This kind of gives supporters trust the opportunity now to have a golden share in their club. And basically that golden share is kind of a symbolic share, but it means that the supporters trust could have the right to veto certain agreed criteria with the club. So that could include the club identity, the location, the colour of the shirts, the badges, and so on. So that's really why it's a bit of a hot topic now, because with the Crouch report coming out, it's given us an opportunity to look at, what's the right vehicle for this. The trust has been around for a long time, although it's been dormant. The trust is also a small shareholder in the club by virtue of some of the share consolidation John Berylson did in the past. So it's the logical place really for the club to place the golden share once they are in a position to do that, basically.
Okay, the Crouch report is making big changes really to how football clubs have been run and giving the supporters that ability to be involved. And we've seen a number of clubs go under Bury as a typical side, and lots of other clubs have been struggling. And I would think that many of our fans would want to get involved to ensure that the club continues in the way that it has for a very, very long time. So how can the fans actually get involved, and what can we expect to see happen in the short, medium and long term?
So in terms of getting involved, anybody that wants to can find us on Twitter, which is at the Lions Trust. We also have a website set up now, which is www.thelionstrust.org. Hopefully, at this stage, in the short term, we're asking for fans who want to get involved and join up for membership to reach out and contact us. There is a contact page, so that'd be great if they could fill it out and get in touch. You can also reach us on email, which is secretary@thelionstrust.org. And then, yes, we'll be in touch with further information. At this moment, we're just tidying up some of the legacy admin from the trust in its former guise, so we should have that sorted in a month or two. We'll then be in a position to send out application forms. Legally, we do have to charge a membership fee because the fee that you pay basically pays for your share in the society and then gives you a voting right. So it's a kind of legal situation where a membership fee has to be paid for that. Once we have a membership in place, we will be seeking people from that membership to hopefully stand for the roles of treasurer, secretary and chair. Nick, Steve and I very much see our roles at the moment as custodians to pass across the trust to a new committee. So it's not anticipated that any of the three of us will be involved beyond the next kind of election phase, but we're very much there to support and help get the trust set up and ready for the next generation, shall we say. In terms of what people can expect, you may have listened to the Price Football podcast last week, and Steve Cavan was on there talking about Millwall. He mentioned on that creating a shadow board, which is another recommendation of the Crouch report. We would hope the trust would be represented on that shadow board alongside other fan groups, which no doubt would include the MSC and various other entities that the club would choose to invite on that. So the important thing really is that the trust is not a supporters group like the MSC. We won't be involved in things along the lines of travel, food at the ground, ticketing and those kind of things. This is very much about the long-term stability, viability and future of the club. In her report, Tracy Crouch talked about stadium, club badges, location, colours, and all of those kind of things. But really, the trust could agree kind of almost anything with the club that could be included in part of that golden share that the trust would have a right to veto. The club will need to agree to that. Other clubs have included such things as a director appointed to the board, which we've obviously had in the past, a right of a certain amount of financial information to be shared, a seat on the audit or risk committee, specific fan engagement. So kind of while this fan-led review is focused on heritage assets and names and colours, it's conceivable really that a golden share could include any other rights and benefits that the club shareholders and the trust can agree, basically. I think fans should be keen to get involved because this, really is about to see a club there for everybody's benefit in the future. We've seen what happened not too far away in London at Chelsea. If they didn't have a supporters trust, then you have to wonder where would that club be right now, having been sanctioned. Clearly, that's not likely to happen to us, but plenty of other clubs have fallen for other reasons. So it's great to have a trust in place that will be ready to support the club if needed.
Yeah, it's something that's come along because of need, and the Crouch report clearly puts that in place. It's been in place from that time, actually, when the club was facing issues that could have led whether we would exist. So, I mean, in that sense, it's appropriate, it's timely, it's all of those things. It does need that close relationship with the current club, and that appears to be something that's supported by the existing board and directors. So in that sense, that very closeness and that involvement is almost the key essential part. And I wonder whether the fans appreciate that that is a necessary link.
It's a really good point. And, by various platforms, you see lots of criticism of the club and, are the various supporter groups too close, not close enough? I think the reality is, Eamon, in my experience, having dealt with trying to get this trust refloated over the last couple of months, and I've obviously had to have conversations, along with Nick and Steve, with Steve Kavanagh and the club directly. Nothing gets done without some degree of harmonious relationship. It Absolutely. Can't all be confrontational. If fans think that, a trust or a supporter group should be constantly battering the club, then that's probably not going to result in productive outcomes for anybody. All I can say is in the dealings that we've had with the club, they've been very supportive, they've been very open, and to Steve Kavanagh's credit, maybe people won't want to hear this, but he's actually been really welcoming and encouraging to get this done. I think he sees the Crouch report as a good thing. Clearly, Millwall have campaigned before. If you go back maybe a couple of years ago, Millwall were one of the strong clubs in the Championship trying to push through salary caps. So I think the clubs see the benefit of more harmonious processes within the EFL that kind of help clubs stay on the straight and narrow and avoid some of the issues we're seeing at other clubs where they just can't stay within their financial means. And to be honest, if the club doesn't stay in its financial means, that's more likely to increase the need of the trust to exist.
Yes.
So I think, Steve's been very open about it, very helpful. I would recommend people to listen out for him on the Price Football podcast, and it sort of set a lot of thoughts to rest for me in terms of various, where the club's direction is going and those kind of things. So it's definitely worth listening to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more in those terms, and good to see that Steve Kavanagh is clear about the intentions of the club and also the support that he's given to you guys. Well, that's great. I better get signed up and hopefully we can get you back on to update us on the progress you outlined in the not too distant future. So thanks for coming on, Phil, and we look forward to speaking to you again.
No, it's a pleasure. Thanks very much for the time, Eamon. And please do encourage as many people as possible to retweet, like, and just generally get the message out there. A stronger trust means more members. More members means more options for people to stand for the committee. We've got an online voting software that we're looking at, so hopefully it'll be pretty seamless, quite easy for people to get involved. Yeah, the more the merrier, baby.
Lovely, Phil. Thanks very much. Bye for now.
Cheers.
So don't forget, catch up with the Price of Football podcast, which came out on the 16th of March and hear what Steve Kavanagh had to say and how that links up to what Phil's been talking about.
Cheers, Eamon. Really interesting. Something I'm personally definitely going to get involved with. It's something I feel I've always wanted to be involved in, giving that bit of a say and having an opportunity to have a view on the direction my club's going in. Interesting that you get a choice and talking about the colours and all stuff like that. So it's quite good. Dave, I'll go to you first. What were your thoughts on what Eamon and Phil were talking about there?
Yeah, it sounds very promising for the club. Having been a shareholder since way back, I'm wondering if it's what sort of price this membership is going to be for an individual member, or is it mainly aimed at companies and larger investors that would have more say? And this golden share, about vetoing decisions that are made in the boardroom, that's fine. But if you've got, mate, so let's just say for an argument, 5 voting members, including the golden share, what you say may still be overruled by the majority of other people. So it's I'm still a little bit undecided on it.
James, what were your thoughts on what Eamon and Phil said there as well?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was very, very interesting to hear. I'll admit I wasn't too glued up on the Lions Trust beforehand, but after listening first account from both Phil and Eamon, it actually sounds like a very good idea. Very important idea as well. And I hope that fans listening would get the chance to give it food for thought and, hopefully even get involved.
Excellent. And Stan, I know you were having struggles trying to hear that, mate, but what were your thoughts? Well, you had thoughts before you heard what they said anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, this Lions Trust is said earlier. It's not something that's new. And I mean, I remember some years ago, the former chairman of the MSC, Bob Asprey, was heavily involved in at that stage. And I see him recently and asked him what his view on it all was. And he was very enthusiastic about it, Bob, right? The only thing I would say, and this is where we've got to be a bit careful here, is that this has got to be taken in conjunction with the report by Tracy Crouch, and which has come about in it because of this idea of a Super League and breakaways and one thing and another. Now, the two are intertwined, right? Because what we've got to be very careful of, because it will have an effect, right, is that what we don't want to see happen in terms of the reform of football clubs and fan involvement and whatever, that the government, because they're the people, we're getting the politics going to get involved in sport and football. Let's not be naive. The government will need not to start watering down what they've already said or start walking away from bits, right? Because if they do, it could have a knock-on effect. So you've got that problem with the crouching, and then you've got the Lions Trust, which is all fine. But as I say, you've got to be very, very careful here. And because the other thing I have to say is that people who get involved in this, if it all gets up and running, it's got to be. It's no good having sort of people that suddenly start moaning and shouting and hollering, and because there's a lot of responsibility placed in them positions. Mm-hmm. And when you start making these decisions, you've got to be prepared to start backing them up. It's no good people coming thinking, oh, what we're going to do is play to the gallery. That's no good. You ain't going to do the job if you're going to do that. So, but anyway, all I'm saying is that the review by Tracy Crouch and this goes in conjunction. But just to reiterate, if the government start backtracking, right, and suddenly start changing amendments, because, for example, I do know, that some of the things that's going to be involved with fans and in the boardrooms, Premier League clubs don't want none of that. They don't want no interference, whatever. Now, if they suddenly start listening to them, this will get watered down. It will have a knock-on effect. But there we are, But
cool.
As I say, politics involved in sport, eh? Who would have thought it?
Well, we don't really need it, but
that's the real world.
Exactly. Well, very interesting, guys, and be interesting to see if anyone comments on us having that piece in there tonight, and hopefully we get some good feedback on that. Let's listen to Harvey Brown, Debbie, and Kelly Webster talking about the Lions Food Hub.
First of all, let's hear from Harvey Brown.
Have you heard of the Lions Food Hub? It is now located in the Millwall Community Trust car park. That's beside Millwall's Den in Ballina Road. That Millwall Lioness, Kelly Webster, is involved. Don't forget to help the Lions Food Hub if you can. Thank you.
As Harvey said, they need support, and you can help if you can by making a one-off or a regular monetary donation online at Banquet, that is BANKUET, or on a Saturday you should make donations pre-match at the hub about 50 metres down from the Lions store. Alternatively, you can also contact the team via their Twitter and Facebook sites.
I'm Gary Staff, and I am back with another Likes of Talking team of James Kelly, Dave Hart, and Stan Godwin. Now we're going to move on to the part of the show where we talk to an ex-Millwall player. Born in London, he signed for Millwall at the age of 7. He spent 12 years in the academy before making his first team debut the last game of the season on May the 5th, 2019, coming on as a late substitute in the defeat to Wigan Athletic. He had previously been on the bench earlier in the season for the FA Cup tie against Everton. He now plays for Bromley alongside ex-Lions Liam Trotter, Byron Webster and the assistant manager Alan Dunn. Welcome to the show, George Alexander. How you doing, George?
Hello, you're right. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, really well, really well. George, before I pass you over to the team, what was it like to wear the Lions shirt on that one occasion?
No, it was obviously like a proud moment for myself. Like, I grew up as a Millwall fan. It was just like the only shame for me it was that it was an away game that I didn't get to play at the Den.
That's a shame. Did you get to play when you was in the youth teams or anything like that? But
I played in the Den. Yeah, I played there. Obviously I'd have been playing in front of fans.
Cool, excellent.
But it is what it is.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
Evening, George. It's James here.
Evening.
Hey, you're right.
Yeah.
What's it like being the son of a Millwall legend?
It's all right, to be fair. Like, sometimes you get the old dad scored at Wembley, but I think you learn to live with it, and it's just like having a normal dad, really. Like, it became normal for me, just how I've ended up growing up. Like, for some people from the outside, they look and they think, dad was a footballer. It just became normal life to me.
Mm. You sort of want to make a name for yourself in that sense and do it your way rather than.
Yeah, if you seen me play and seen my dad play, completely different players. Really, he's more of a target man, whereas I'm more of a runner. So it's I haven't really took on his side of the game. Obviously, he tries to help me in that, but haven't really took how he plays on into my career.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously, as you see, I try to make my own name in the game for myself.
Cool.
George, it's Stan here, mate. How are you getting on? All right?
Yeah, not bad. Thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Tell me, when you're now at Bromley, have you been surprised? What I mean by that is that was the level of football in that league better than you thought it might have been, or not as good, or what? I mean, what's your general perception of the standard of football in that league?
Yeah, do you know what? It did really shock me how good the standard is. I didn't think dropping out from obviously a championship club, going down a few levels. How good the standard is throughout the leagues. Even when we was under 23s players, we'd play against first teams in the week against League One clubs, and the standard between a League One club and the National League is tiny compared to have what the gap between League One and the Championship is. It's like that's what I'd say you see, like when a team goes up from the National League, they seem to stay up, whereas like a team goes up from League One to the Championship, they're near enough relegated with 10 games to go all the time. So like, it's the gap between National League and League One is not big, but the gap between League One and Championship is massive. So like the standard is obviously still very good, like compared to what I thought it'd be. Like I had a spell at Concord Rangers in the league below this, and that was obviously I only went there for one game, and that was twice a week. And like the standard there was not great. Not going to cover it up. Like, but the National League is full time. Every team's full time, so it's a good standard.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that analogy before, about the standard between the National League all the way up to Division 1. And then, as you say, when you go from Division 1 to the Championship, that's when the gap kicks in. But, no, it's interesting. Thanks.
Is a thought of what you're just asking there? Is it a thought that maybe you should make it part of the actual league pyramid and make it 5 divisions because the standard is so close?
I think like the National League want to do it, and the league don't. I don't think they get on, the National League and the league.
Oh,
so it's hard to make it work because they're two separate like businesses. They don't want to make it work. Like me saying because I'm playing in it, but obviously look, everyone in it wants it to become like League 3 now. I think they're trying to make it, but I think it's difficult the way they're working together, and that's why it's only one goes up in the automatic and one in the playoffs.
So bad.
Yeah.
Evening, Jules. It's Dave here.
Evening.
It's obvious that you're enjoying your football at Bromley, but what's it like to play along old Millwall legends such as Liam and Byron?
It's obviously good. Like they teach me a lot, and that like a few of the other older boys. Like you've got a lot of ex-pros that have played the game at other clubs, but like obviously Webby I knew anyway just from being a 23s at Millwall. He was there when I was there, and then my dad played alongside Trots Liam. So it's like I didn't know him before that, but obviously I get on with him. Like he obviously played my dad, but they're like just good leaders. Like they've played the game at near enough the top level.
Oh right, yeah, good. I mean, it's one of those things where you pick up all the tips from the old stagers. I say stagers, old legends, and obviously he's helping you out in a big way.
Yeah, no, like that's when you can only, like, as a young player, like, I can only learn from them. They've played at the near enough in the top level in the Championship. So if I can take anything from them, like before they end up like they've had their careers like retiring, then it could help me one day, and as I go on, hopefully.
Yeah, all good stuff.
Excellent. Do you? I know you've dropped off a little bit this last couple of weeks over at Bromley. Do you think you're still going to make the playoffs, or do you think it's another year away now?
I still think like we're in with a very good chance. Like we've got a couple games in hand. We just like we've had a tough spell, but every team does. And if we hit like a good bit of form from now on, like we've got the FA Trophy semi-final this weekend, which if we win that, we get to play at Wembley. Like
Excellent.
it's like the lower leagues FA Cup with everyone in it, and we're assembled at that. So hopefully that kick on the rest of our season. And it's like if we can get a run going into the playoffs, then you're hard to beat once you get that run going. Exactly.
And do you get done and done much at the moment in between games, or?
No, not at the minute. Obviously, we play Saturdays, Tuesdays as well, so it's hard. Like if I can, like if they're playing on a Wednesday, I'll watch it on the TV. But other than that, I'm not able to at the minute.
It's great to hear you talking. Going back to your dad, George. How would you describe your dad's goal at Wembley? I know you must be asked this a lot, but it's one of the best I've ever seen.
It's funny, like I always tell him it was an own goal, but
I bet he loves you, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, that was like the banner we always had. Like, I just tell him it was annoying. I can't give him boost his ego anymore. So
The thing is, though, George, he missed the easy one.
No, that's what I tell him, that he could have had the first ever hat trick at Wembley, but he missed from 5 yards.
But I tell you what, in all seriousness, I would even go as far as to say this, right? If the best cup final goal I've ever seen at Wembley, old or new, is Ricardo Villa in 1981. I don't think there's a better goal than that, right? In terms of the new Wembley, right? If I hate them using them expressions, but I have to say, in my honest opinion, that the best goal I've seen was the goal scored by your dad, and you've had some players there of real quality play at that ground, but that goal we scored was well, I remember when it went in, I was right up the top. I could hardly believe my eyes when I see it go in. It's just ecstasy, wasn't it? I haven't seen a better goal in that ground before or since he scored that goal.
No, obviously I'm a bit young to see the 81 goal, but I'd say I haven't seen any better than that, and I was obviously there at the game. I remember going to get some popcorn.
I was actually quite impressed, George. You've actually just remembered what year it was, because Stan didn't say that, and that was impressive.
1981. But I tell you what, George, when you get 5 minutes, say after this, when you finish the rabbiting with us, go and get on YouTube and just put in there 1981 FA Cup replay. Yeah, and you watch the goal by Ricardo Villa.
No, because I was just saying, I remember going to get a box of popcorn at Wembley. Don't know what I was doing getting popcorn, but I come back out and Dad obviously scored that goal. And I remember sitting there and I said, after the goal, I said, "Where's my popcorn?" I'd throw it up in the air.
Well, they've probably done your waistline a bit of good, mate. So there we go.
Yeah,
superb. Superb. Oh, brilliant, George. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And we will get you on again soon when you're Bromley are playing in the Division 2 properly next season. But before we go, obviously we always ask our colleagues predictions for the next game. Luton coming up for the Lions. I know they're a tough act at the moment. What do you think?
Yeah, no, they're flying, aren't they? No one would have expected that. I'd say a 1-1 draw.
Oh, you're sitting on the fence, George. You're sitting on the fence.
1-1 draw, Jed goal.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Brilliant. No worries. Take care, George, and thank you for coming on the show.
George.
Cheers, George.
That's right.
See you later, George. Take care.
Take care, everyone. We'll now listen to Bethany Warren talking about Sands United.
We know that some men can struggle to talk about how they're feeling after the death of a baby. We hope that by building trust and a common bond, by playing together as a team, many more will be able to break their silence about baby loss and help others to do the same. Sands United FC has already saved the lives of men left feeling like they had no one to turn to in their grief. Are you a father who has lost a child? Talk to Sands United. They will help. Contact them on sufclondon@gmail.com. That's sufclondon@gmail.com. They will help.
I'm Gary Staff, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us talking team of James Kelly, Dave Hart and Stan Godwin. Our next guest is a friend of the show and a man that's been doing great things with the Millwall Community Trust. Welcome to the show, Sean Daly. It's great to have you on the show again, and we're all proud of the work you are doing. So, James, I'll let you lead the way and ask the first question to Sean tonight.
Thanks, Gary. Evening, Sean. How are we doing?
Evening, James. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. So could you just tell our listeners about the Community Trust Day, which is on the 9th of April against Barnsley?
Yep. So in 2019, we decided with the club that we would celebrate and showcase the work of the Community Trust every year. So we would be given a game every season. And we kicked it off in 2019 versus Norwich. And then, which was brilliant. And we did some activities on the pitch. We did some stuff outside the stadium. And then the players wore warm-up shirts with the Community Trust on it. So we planned a big one in 2020, March 20th. I always remember it was March the 20th. We were going to play Derby. The shirts were going to be changed from blue to white. We're going to have community trust on it and with loads of activities. And then I received a call from Steve Kavanagh on the Friday, the day before the game, to say that football is now locked down and the community trust day would not happen. And that's the last time we were told we were going to have a community day. So this is going to be our first one since 2019. And all we're going to try and do is we're going to try and showcase some of the things that we do for the fans. So we're going to have some activities going on in the Lions Centre, stuff like walking football, a schools tournament. We're going to have a pan-disability football going on in there. We're going to have a fan zone in the sports hall. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have some stalls around the stadium, around our partners like the Army, street soccer, all different people that we work with to show that what we do. Lionesses are going to be going around collecting funds for us. We're going to have some mascots from people that attend our holiday camps. Lionesses are going on the pitch, the junior Lionesses, and one of our development centres, they're going to be like the Guard of Honour. And it's just going to really be a way of us celebrating with our partners all the work we do in the local community and to give the fans a little bit of awareness about what we do. And it's just going to be a fun day, really.
Excellent. That's good. That's brilliant. That's really nice to hear. Really good.
Hello, Sean. It's Dave here.
Hi, Dave.
Hello, mate. It's nice to talk to you again. Tell me all this, what I'm hearing about the London Landmarks Half Marathon. Can you fill us in a bit more on that?
Yeah, of course. No worries. So as a community trust, we rely very much on grants and donations and people coming on our courses to pay for the provision that we do. The last couple of years, we haven't been able to fundraise to the level that we wanted to do. We things like the community day, the evenings we had with players and that, they just couldn't go ahead because of COVID. So I've planned this year, touch wood, that we would do some fundraising activities. So I contacted the London Half Marathon, which is on the 3rd of April, and we managed to get some places in it. And then I put it out to the supporters, and I asked supporters who would like to run in it. We would pay for their place. In return for that, we would like them to raise some funds for the trust. So they would get sponsored by friends, family, supporters, and they would generate us some income, but of course run for a charity cause in the London Half Marathon. So it happens this Sunday. I've got 10 runners. They travel around the big landmarks of London, so like things like Houses of Parliament, Big Ben, Buckingham Palace. But the idea would be is they raise awareness of the community trust. They'll be wearing vests with the Millwall badge on it, so people know who they are. And we've got supporters, we've got the kit man, Jack's running, and we've got a couple of runners from our community trust. So it's just a way of raising funds for us. But I want to get people involved in the trust. I don't want to go out and ask people just to donate or go around with a bucket. I want them to get something out of it as well. So we're going to try and do fundraising activities that will involve people. So we're sending out 10 supporters out to Africa in June, again, to do some fundraising. They're going to go out to Africa and build a school and do some education out there. But in return, I'll receive some money back from the organisation that are taking them out there, the charity.
Oh, good. That sounds very encouraging to hear you're getting something back.
Yeah, and I want people to buy into the trust, and then not for us to come there and say, "Oh, can you donate £200?" How about running a marathon and achieving something yourself, but then on the back of that, raise some money for the charity that we will put back in the charity to support young people within the borough.
Brilliant.
Mm. Well, Sean, I mean, it's Stan here, mate. I take it. Well, you sound okay. Everything's good on the community front, but I have to say, and I've said this before, right? I mean, the way I look at it is with regards to the community trust, right? I mean, we don't imitate, but we're a model to others. I mean, there's no question about that. And all you people involved in all this are gold dust, absolute pure gold dust.
No, I really appreciate that, Stan. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I could be here all night at this rate, but time's not on our side. But will you be doing anything around Easter? I mean, will you be running around the den on an egg and spoon race with a big giant? I wonder,
I haven't thought of that one, Stan, but that's quite a good idea. That I might do next year. I might do an Easter hunt around the stadium, which would be quite good. Yeah, we're Easter holidays are quite a challenging time for families because a lot of young people young families, they rely a lot on the schools. Schools have shut down for 2 weeks now, which is quite a long holiday for some families. And then, of course, a lot of those families rely on free school meals to have those children fed. So what we've done this Easter is we are going to be running in 10 days over the Easter. We are going to be running free holiday camps again, a bit like we did before in the summer and Christmas. Free of charge to the local community, aged from children from 6 to 15 years old. They're going to be running different places, St Paul's, the Lion Centre, the Silwood Estate, all different places. And what we want to try and do is offer families a free holiday camp, feed the children again. So they're coming from a local community are making meals for us. And it's going to be free to the community. And we're looking at about 250 children a day for 9 days. One of the ones we're going to do at St Paul's, we're going to do in conjunction with Fisher FC. So Fisher are going to be giving the children, families tickets to come to the games. We're going to give them some gifts like Easter eggs, etc. But for us, we know how much challenging and how much holidays put pressure on families, and we're just going to try and do our bit again and say, look, we'll take the children off your hand for 4 hours a day. We'll feed them, make sure they go home with fruit and some food for the family, and we'll look after the children for that.
Sure, that's superb. That's superb.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent.
Here. Yeah. I also want to mention, Sean, that Debbie Julian's one of our regular panelists on the show, my teeth in. She was invited onto the Royal Academy of Culinary Arts Zoom meeting this week about the Adopt a School project, and she was there to represent Millwall and the MCT. The aim was to look at and how to expand the awareness of Millwall and work more closely with more different schools and different areas in the community. Debbie really is proud. She mentioned it on our Instagram group and WhatsApp group earlier. To be linking the two together. The Royal Academy, as you're probably aware, is really a hard nut to crack, but we're really proud of what you and Tim are doing with the MCT and that as well.
Yeah, and they, to be fair, they've come and they're going to support us at Easter as well. They're actually going to come to all the venues and show the children how to cook and the families how to make affordable meals. Which we thank them for that. And that was off the road back. They contacted us and said, "No, we'd like to support this. We think it's a great program. We're going to send chefs down and educate the families and the young children."
Mate, it's just excellent the work you do. Look, there's so much more we can talk about, and we will have you on again soon. But great speaking to you again, Sean. And thank you for everything you do with the Community Trust. And I'm sure all those kids and families, thank you from the bottom of their heart to help you getting them through this tough time as well. But before you go, let's have a prediction on Saturday's game against Luton, mate.
I think it'll be a close game because I think both teams are playing very well. I can see us nicking it over there, winning 2-1. It's going to be the odd goal. I think it's going to be tough, but I think the players are on a good roll at the moment. I think it's going to be a very competitive game because they're both good teams. They're both playing very well at the moment. My heart says I'd love a little 2-1.
I tell you what, if we do take away a few points away from them on Saturday, I think the atmosphere would be fantastic. Thanks, Sean.
Excellent. Have a lovely weekend, everybody.
Yeah,
thanks, Sean. Keep up the good work.
See you later. Thank you. Bye.
That's brilliant, Sean, again there. And just to speak amongst ourselves for a couple of minutes, just to say, it's brilliant what he's doing. What is it? Over the last 4 or 5 years, can't remember how long he's been doing it now, what he's done. And you're right to say what you said, Stan. And it doesn't even do it justice what you said, really, does it? With the work and everything that he's done for the community, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh no, that's right. I mean, but you see, the one guy I remember in all this is old Mitch, right, and George's mate. You know, well, he's a mate of mine, but he's more George's mate than he is mine, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. But I mean, I remember when Eamon organised with Sean and we went down there for that day back last year. And we'd been down there a couple of hours, and Mitch was with us, and we was watching them. And I said, "What do you make of all this, Mitch?" He said, "Me, Stan." He said, "I'll tell you something." He said, "I always knew," he said, "that Millwall was involved in the community." He said, "But until I got here," he said, "I just didn't realise how big and how deep it was." I mean, it was, and you know, and I have to say, you know, I've yet to hear anyone. I've yet to hear anyone, and I would argue against them, where they've actually that have ever complained about the community, or you know, I've not heard anyone say, "Well, you know, why is a football club involved in the community? You know, all that money should go in the football team." You know, It's nonsense, because that is not the real world, and that's not the way that football is today. And people better realise that. But because if you only have to look, every other club's doing it. Every other club is doing it. And Simon Hughes reckons that the best, when we had him down there, that Simon Hughes said that the best community scheme at that time was run by Everton, and we weren't that far behind. Now that is some accolade, I have to say.
Really is.
That's what he said, but I ain't going to argue with him.
No, I like old
Sir Simon Hughes.
Sir Simon, indeed. Yes, indeed. Right, guys, we're now going to talk to the other teams that we like to promote. First up, we're going to be talking to Paul Loading about the Romans and the Pride. It was UK and Ireland Cup time for Millwall Romans last Saturday week, and I caught up with Paul Loading after the match. Paul, how did it go in Manchester?
Hi, I hope you're all keeping well. So just a little report on the weekend. The Romans team travelled up to Manchester to play Village Manchester in the semi-final of the GFSN Cup. Village Manchester we played in the final in Birmingham last June. And went to penalties. Unfortunately, we didn't secure the win then and lost on penalties. So we were up for revenge on this time. So we travelled up there Saturday morning for a 2:00 kickoff. It just wasn't our day on Saturday, unfortunately, and we ended up losing a 6-0 in the end. Manchester are a very, very strong side. Take nothing away from them. They're very good in midfield. They set up with three in midfield, one up front. Their striker is a very lively character, who just keeps running across the back line, and they keep looking for him. The three centre midfielders they've got, all ball playing centre midfielders, you know, very, very good, and as good as we'd like to think our two centre midfielders are. When you're overrun in the midfield, it's very difficult. We did end up going 2-0 down within about 15 minutes, so we were always chasing the game. And I think our reluctance then to bring Jay back into centre midfield, due to it's always good to keep him and Bass up front, but unfortunately we probably left a little bit too late. Went in at half-time, 4-0 down, and then I say just chasing the game the whole way.
Reflecting on the disappointing result, which you clearly feel bad about, what do you put this experience down to?
So it's a little bit disappointing that we didn't progress into the final this year. We weren't really looking forward to it, and as I say, take nothing away from Manchester. We didn't perform on the day at all. It wasn't our day. We were looked a bit sluggish, maybe a bit unfit. I think not having many games over the last probably month or so hasn't helped us at all. But they were just up for it straight away. In the final from last year, it was us that went up, 2-0 within about 15-20 minutes, and then they changed tactics to come up. So I think they were very reluctant for us nicking 2 goals straight on. So they went out really up for the game, and it worked out better for them.
Have Millwall Pride been in action?
The Pride team were also in action on Sunday, playing at St Paul's. unfortunately losing to Titans 4-0. Apparently it was quite a decent performance. They did, the scoreline did flatter Titans a little bit more. The Pride team are really improving every week. We're still getting new players join. They're getting more used to playing with each other. So I think next season is going to be really, really exciting for them.
What is coming up next for the sides?
So we're on a bit of a break this weekend, being Mother's Day. We're back in action against Stokey FC, who really, really good physical, strong sides. They're very good on the ball, a lot of skill in the side. They're challenging for winning the league this year, so it's going to be a tough game. We're playing on grass over in Walthamstow, 1:30 next Sunday, which, okay, is going to be a tough game. Our ambition now is we've got to win the league this year. We need to walk away with something if we weren't going to win the cup. So we've got 4 games left. They're all going to be tough games, and really looking forward to winning the league title this year.
Thanks, Paul. Let's be hopeful that you're Crowd League champions again. The Romans are to play their final game of the season at the Den, when we can hopefully see them lift their league championship trophy for all to see. Listen out for further details over the next few weeks. Next up, cheers, Paul. Next up, we'll be listening to our very own Jeff Bernage speaking with the Lionesses. Let's hear what he has to say.
This is Jeff Bernage reporting on Millwall Lionesses' 1-0 victory against Saltdean United ladies at St Paul's Sports Ground, Rotherhithe, on Sunday. The Lionesses returned to winning ways with this competitive victory, and manager Jack Wheeler had rotated his squad with 5 changes, expecting a difficult match with the recently strengthened Saltdean United team, straight off a 5-0 thrashing by them of Aylesford. The opening half confirmed this, and the more mature Saltdean side enjoyed the better possession and movement. The younger Lionesses were competing hard, but found some of the decisions for fouls a little disappointing. After the break, Saltdean just could not repeat their superiority as the Lionesses' fitness and desire shone through. The keeper, 16-year-old Serena Head, and the back 3 of Millie Connell, Amy Nash and Poppy Payne were all superb, as was Sophie Chapman, moved into midfield for this game. The Lionesses were getting on top when they went down to 10 players after an accidental collision between 2 players, both looking only at a bouncing ball. Both were winded, but the referee decided to punish Kabadaki for the Lionesses with a red card. This fired up the girls, and they went in front on 68 minutes after a 12-yard drive from Sophie Chapman. Manager Wheeler made substitutions after the goal, with club captain Libby Stubbs reinforcing the defence, and our 4th 16-year-old on the day, Shireen Alimi, causing more problems up front. In the end, this was a good win against the strong Saltdean side. Millwall Lionesses' big match this Sunday, which is a semi-final with Dartford Ladies at Dartford Football Club in the London and South East Regional Women's Football League Cup. And it's a big game in women's football. The Lionesses have a long injury list, however, and striker Cadence Kabadaki is suspended. So manager Jack Wheeler will be rotating his squad, and the side will feature some of the club's impressive youngsters. The Lionesses won 1-0 away in the quarter-final against big favourites Fulham, with a Maisie Joyce free kick deciding the match. Club captain Libby Stubbs is hoping to be fit to return to the starting lineup on Sunday. Dartford themselves are equal top of the league and will start clear favourites. Former Lionesses Joe Woodgate and Shawnee Griffiths will both be hoping for revenge after they lost at Millwall back in November. This should be a great game at Princes Park, Dartford, and the kick-off on Sunday is 2 p.m.
Cheers, Jeff. So next up for the first team is that really, really tough game that's been mentioned a couple of times today already. Luton. They are currently high flying in the Championship, sitting in 3rd place, but only 6 points ahead of the Lions. So can we class this as a 6-pointer? Probably. But we've been in some really good games against the Hatters lately. What are your thoughts, gents? I'll go with you first, Stan.
Well, I don't see no reason why we can't go there and we can't win the game. But in saying that, I don't just say, when I say that, I don't mean all we've got to do is just rock up and everything and work out as hunky-dory. I mean, as I said before, we've got to go there and we've got to actually run the game. We've got to put them on the back foot. and not let them get, once they're on the back foot, make sure they don't get on the front foot. But there's no reason why we can't go and win that game.
Can't disagree at all. Dave, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Luton's always been quite a competitive game. All the games I've ever seen there have been that way. They've got some really strong players up front and defend very well, and they distribute the ball around. But again, we can, if we're on our game, come away with a result on this one. So I'm quite looking a bit positive on this one.
And I've also heard this week, I don't know how true it is, but old Burke on loan and what's his name? The one we bought from Sheffield Wednesday, old record signing, gone completely blank. Help me out, someone.
Leonard,
yes, he's back as well this week. Doubt his start. I think Burke's got more of a chance of getting on than Leonard because of his pace, which might help us out a little bit. But do you think, James, that helps us a bit?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, getting all the getting back to speed with all the injuries coming back is really good. You mentioned Burke, but I think Leonard would be a much more important addition to the squad again because of how versatile he is and where he can play. He can play right back, centre back, central midfielder, and it also gives us a chance to rotate with Saville and Mitchell as well. So I think getting these injuries back and also Ojo and Bradshaw coming back just before the international break as well has been a massive boost.
Yeah, and I think Clifton Bell's not 2 million miles away as well.
Yeah, apparently Clifton Bell's not too far away from coming back as well. So yes, I think we're getting the players back at the right time. Especially considering. Yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
Especially considering our schedule throughout April. I think we've got 7 of our last 8 games this month. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't realise that.
Yeah.
And did the break in between only really short this year, like a month and a half or something, 2 months? Normally it's a little bit longer, isn't it?
Well, it's going to be even shorter next season.
Yeah, but I thought they were doing it this season for the World Cup this year. I thought they were shortening this one.
So this next season is starting, I think, at the end of July, rather than the beginning of August, and then we'll have we have a bit of a break in December, and then I think it goes back to normal after Christmas.
Yeah,
I read the other week that the Coventry City manager has let his board know that in the coming summer, and this is a good thing for Millwall as well, that he's going to need additional players in because between then and the World Cup, right, we've got 21 league games to play. Now that doesn't include League Cup games or anything like that. It's 21 league games, so they're going to be coming thick and fast. So. So therefore he's saying I'm going to need additional numbers if you want to compete, and he's not talking about busting.
And I didn't see the Premier League have agreed for 5 subs again next season as well.
Yeah,
they have. Yeah.
What about us then? Are we not allowed that? Or is it we
I
down the line?
I haven't heard.
No, it's just the Premier League that decided it.
Yeah, typical. Cool. Quick fire predictions, guys. James, you go first.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to agree with what George said. I think he said a 1-1 draw, and I'll be happy with a draw, to be honest with you, because as we said, Luton are a very good side. I think that automatics still aren't even out of the question for them. So I'm going to say 1-1, and I think that would be a good result for us.
Cool, Dave.
Yeah, I'd take a draw, but I've got a sneaky feeling that it's going to be we're going to nick it 2-1.
I think I'm with you on that. And Dave, sorry, Stan.
Yeah, well, I would agree with Dave. I mean, if we was to get a draw, that would be fine. But as I said, there's no reason why we can't win it. So I mean, I'd go for 2-1.
Yeah,
won't be easy, but then these games never are.
No, not now at the end of the season. I'll go 2-1 as well. Oh, no. I'll have another clean sheet. I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0.
Wow.
Cool. Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team bring reports from our games both home and away, where our roving reporter Kai Bennett will be reporting on the updates. You can also get Millwall Community Matters too on Millwall Maritime Radio, not Millwall Radio, I wish. Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM. That's it from me. Thanks, James.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, Stan.
Yeah, thanks, and good night to everybody.
Finally, it's good night from me, and it's good night from them.